How do you have an opinion about something, especially like current events that are occurring, and having conversation with others around that and stay in that non-judgment place?
Perfect question. Christy's had to do that with her mother, and we have said before, and she has said before, that took the current events topics off the table. But mother continues to try to invite them in every time she speaks to her daughter, and it is an understanding. Christy has gotten to a different place now, that if her mom starts talking about it, she lets her just vent, but understands that it is where she is. She is in fear. And one of her friends got the corona thing and is fine. She is fighting it. And her mother was saying, see, even if you wear a mask and you do this and you do that, you can still get it. And Christy, from her perspective, just said, yeah, but it's good news because she got it. She's getting over it. She didn't have it bad and she'll never get it again. So it's actually good. And her mom came back with another, and she kept trying to raise the conversation. And she just had to then sit back and understand her mom is in fear. Her mom lives in fear. That's where her address is, her zip code, her phone number. It's all in fear land. And as much as she tries to take her on a vacation over to Joyland, she goes back to fear land. And so Christy has learned to not try to change her mother. If it gets too much with the conversation, she'll say, okay, let's change the subject. Because she could see it's agitating her mother and getting her mother even more freaked out. And changing the subject is really good. But it is coming from a place of neutrality, understanding that her mother's fear is not her fear. And if she starts to feel fear inside of herself, she stops and says, okay, what is there to fear? And she goes back to what she knows. If I got it, I am healthy, I would get over it, and then I'd never get it again. If I am in touch with it, my body will fight it off. And if there was worst case scenario, which she wouldn't want, if she got really, really sick and died, she'd be back in non-physical. So really there's nothing to fear, ultimately. And that creates a neutrality in herself. When she feels a hooking in, it's her hooking, and she knows that. And so it is taking, once again, responsibility for yourself. And the only thing that you can take responsibility for is yourself. Do you need more?
Yes.
Go deeper.
Okay. Having that opinion of and belief of coming from kindness and that alignment of some of the things that are not happening in the world right now with protesting and some of the force that's being used. I know it comes back to me, so can you help me go deeper with that part?
Yes, can we get more specific? Because we feel like you're holding out on sharing some specific thing that lit you up. And we think that it would be not only beneficial for you, but for others. You do not have to use specific names, but if you get more specific, we can drill into where you're wanting to go, because it is very general at this point. And we got general, and that satisfied you a bit, but not to what you're really hungering for.
Yes. It's that a conversation, having it over dinner about the current events with the protesting and the horrific things that are happening for people. I don't watch the news, I catch bits of it. So having a conversation with family that are very steeped in that fear, like you were talking about with Christy's mom, then what I find myself doing is joining in with that, even though I say something to the opposite of that, but then shifting the topic away from then other examples of where people are not being in alignment. So then I find myself getting out of alignment with that, with going down that hole.
Okay, so what is happening, dear, and thank you for your specificity. What is happening is that someone is having the energy of a conversation, and you try to, the best you can, try to veer away from the conversation and stay in pure positive energy. But then what happens is you get sucked in. It's like a wave coming that just grabs you and then brings you down a way that you cannot you feel out of control, like the wave, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the momentum of a conversation and then talking about how bad it is and how wrong it is and all the ways that you don't want to go. You're going down the wrong momentum driveway, if you will, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we have lots of, and you have lots of options when you're in a situation like that. We remind a conversation, and this is, Christy years ago did this brilliantly. When Maxim was just first baby and he had his surgery, he had been home for only a couple of weeks, and it was Christmas time. And they were in Montreal, and Christy's family was there, and Frederick's family was there, the whole entire family. And they started talking about politics. And so Christy got up from the table and she started to put things into the kitchen. She went over to see the baby, and she went and took him and brought him upstairs to change him. And she did other things, went and played with Alex, saw Alex for a little bit, came back in the kitchen, heard them still talking about the stuff, and went and did other things, went outside. And then she made an announcement, because it had been a very long period of time that they were talking about politics. She said, everybody, I totally respecting the fact that you all want to talk about politics. I don't care to. So when you're done, just let me know and I'll come back. I'm going to go upstairs with Alex and Maxim. Oh, we're done. Sure, because you're is an allowing place. You're allowed to speak about whatever you want. I just don't want to be engaged in it. So let me know when you're done and another subject is on the table, so to speak, and then I'll come back. And they changed the subject, and they were talking about something else. Now, this is one way of going about it. You can remove yourself from the situation without saying a word. You could get up and go to the bathroom. You could fill yourself up energetically, even though what's going on in there. You could sit there at the table, look like you're engaged in the conversation, and pull all of your energy back to you. And in that moment, just be filled and doused with light and love. And think about how wonderful your life is. How the things that you're looking forward to doing, to achieving, to experiencing, all while it's going on. And if someone says, well, Beth, what do you think about it? You could just say, I think all things are going to work out. I think this is going to be a pivotal time in history where things are going to be birthed and great changes with us. And but that is my opinion. And then go back into your own happy land. Or if it continues to persist, get up and do other things. Do the dishes, go get more food to put on the table, whatever the situation calls for. But sitting there and engaging in a conversation that's waving you, taking a whole big wave, like a tidal wave, into a conversation that does not feel good, you're being influenced rather than being the influencer. You're being influenced by the energy of those on this plane instead of the higher plane. Helpful?
Yes, tremendously. Thank you.
Just because you're with people doesn't mean you have to engage in what they're thinking. And once again, You're not responsible for their consciousness, but neither are they responsible for yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.